Hello, everybody. Here we are again. Polly in the house. Danielle
I'm so
in
excited.
the house. You have to forgive us. I know it's probably afternoon and evening for some of you, but it's still morning over here for Polly and I. But we're gonna make this happen. We got it.
I'm
Uh,
so excited. Oh, and I love seeing everyone coming in. I see some familiar faces, names, I should say, in the attendees list. That's awesome.
Yes, please drop in the chat where you're tuning in from. Um, Let us know. We always do a fake contest, like who gets the gold star for being up the latest from Houston. What?
Okay,
HTX,
Brittany,
Libya.
Libya, San Fran, Philly, Alabama,
Okay,
Nairobi, Kenya. I love to see
Ghana.
it.
Wait, did someone
Accra,
say they're in
okay,
the
North Carolina.
DMV?
Okay,
Wait,
North
someone's at the DMV? Actually at the DMV?
No, DMV, District of Columbia, Virginia, Maryland.
Hang on,
Love
let
it,
me.
love it. Okay.
Whoop. Oh, Siem Reap.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay,
Oh my
Kenya
God.
again. Legos. We got some Legos for
Rosenberg.
Taiwo in the house.
Tiffany Davis.
Germany. Okay.
Rosenberg. That's like, that's
I
so funny.
absolutely love to see it. And also let us know if this is your first essentials or if this is your second one, third one, fifth one, sixth one. Let us know as well. We love to see it.
Oh my gosh, I love this. This is my
Yes,
favorite
yes,
part.
second,
This is my
first, first.
favorite.
Oh, we got a lot of firsts. This is so exciting. That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Chicago, a
amazing.
lot of firsts. That's amazing.
Yeah,
It really is.
Anastasia. Whoop whoop.
Okay, yes, we got a veteran. This is their sixth essentials.
Yeah,
Love
Anastasia
it, love
rocks.
it.
We love Anastasia. Oh my
No, that's
goodness,
amazing.
how fun. Ooh, boudoir. We get
Love
so
this
sucked into
race.
the chat, Polly and I forget that there's a show to run here. We're like, oh
Oh
wow.
yeah,
I just want to keep
that.
like reading where everyone's coming from
I know.
and
I just love it. I love it. Okay, let's get started. How about that,
let's
Danielle?
get started. Okay, well, hi everyone. Wow, that was an awesome, beautiful, energetic, surprising, lovely welcome. Welcome to the Essentials and so many first timers. So let's just go through. Who are we? What are we doing here? The Essentials
Mhm.
is a free online series of classes on navigating the photojournalism industry and beyond. We haven't always only talked about specifically photojournalism topics here. So we do it all. This is our sixth season, six, and it's all been made possible by partnering with grassroots organizations working towards inclusivity, equity, and access across the visual media industry. So that's the Everyday Projects, Black Women Photographers, and Photo Wings. My name is Danielle Viasana, and in addition to my work as an independent photojournalist, I'm also a community team member of the the everyday projects. The everyday projects, as you can see here, everyone can read, but I'm just going to spout off some words. As a global community, we've got some people in the audience and some speakers from our community. We're documentary photographers, journalists, artists, and more, all committed to using imagery to combat what? Harmful misperceptions. That is a noble goal. All right. And then you can see we're a nonprofit and we do a lot of other really cool stuff, period. Okay, moving on. I would love to introduce the one and only Polly Irungu of Black Women Photographers. I'm so happy to be here with you again, Polly. You're the best. Mwah, 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 mwah,
So much love for you. Thank
mwah.
you, Danielle. Hi, everyone. I'm Polly. I'm the founder of Black Women Photographers, a global organization that I started in 2020. So we're in year 5 now. We do similar work to the Everyday Projects where we elevate the voices of Black and African women creatives. We provide free resources like this one every year. annual summits, workshops, portfolio reviews, grant opportunities, all for free to our members who are all across the globe. And so, just so excited to be doing this work with Everyday Projects.
Yeah. And
Oh,
paparazzi.
and,
I'm like, you get to
and there's
mention
more.
our amazing partner first.
Yes. So, as you know, this is free and available to everyone, and we are in year 6. That means we have 5 past seasons that you can replay all for free, and that is made possible by Photo Wings. Photo Wings is a nonprofit organization dedicated to utilizing the power of photography to further deeper thinking, communication, and action. And their extensive online content and Photo Wings outreach programs have myriad educational applications and possibilities, just like this one right here.
Yes, and I'll do the same for photoing. Mwah, mwah, mwah. We love you, photo. Thank you for all your support and help in creating these classes. So yeah, I am so super happy to be here today. I got a little ahead of myself there. We can't wait for these awesome classes and speakers. As you can see, some of my colleagues' names are here too on the screen. They're helping behind the scenes. Big round of applause. Thank you to Rebecca Gibeon and Austin Merrill, who along with Peter DeCampo are the co-founders of the Everyday Project. So thank you, round of applause. Literally, the essentials would not be possible without Rebecca and Austin every year, year in, year out, helping us behind the scenes. So thank you so, so, so much. And before we jump in, we would like to take a moment to honor the life of Sarah Terry, who's the amazing woman in the middle, smiling with the glasses, such a source of joy and light and wisdom. She recently passed away and left a huge hole in our hearts and beyond. The visual media industry just is not going to be the same without her. Maybe some of you have seen some of the tribute posts that people are sharing on Instagram, and when you read them, it just like really reminds you of what an incredible person Sarah was. And she was an amazing photographer and filmmaker and founder of the Aftermath Project. And in fact, we'll have an award recipient speak about her work today. Sarah really helped us build and grow the Everyday Projects and was a supporter from the start, first as a contributor, and then when we became a nonprofit, she joined our board of directors. And this is actually a photo from the first board meeting. You can see Peter there and Austin and a few of the other board members. She loved the essentials, and it's exactly the kind of thing that she believed in. So, people supporting and uplifting each other through photography and education. Here we are today, just continuing that type of work that she really, really strongly believed in. So, rest in power, Sarah Terry. Without further ado, we've got a great lineup. As you can see, look at all of these amazing visual storytellers here. We've got some really the top of the top stellar teachers talking about some of the most crucial topics that are necessary for paving a successful path as a visual storyteller. At the end of each presentation, there's a lot of time for Q&A. So please drop your questions in the box, not in the chat, but there's a separate question box. So please drop your questions there so we can see them. We don't just say rules to be annoying. It's actually to help so we can see your questions, and do not be shy. This is a safe space to ask anything at all. And we hope that whether you're just starting off or you're a seasoned photographer, after this weekend, you'll feel even more confident about your practice. So we're all an open book here.
Yes, and like I mentioned earlier, each class is recorded and available for free replay on our respective websites and the Photo Wings website. There you can follow us on social on our respective platforms. And at any point, if you are enjoying what you're seeing, feel free to post about it, feel free to tweet about it, post on Instagram stories, spread the word. We love to see that there's so many first timers here, and we want to continue doing this great work and make sure that we are hearing from you. And so let us know that you're enjoying it, and we will hopefully continue each year.
So here we go. We're ready to start and jump into this. It means so much to start this sixth season of The Essentials with Taiwo Aina because I've admired her work from afar for a very long time, and so it's really special to finally get to hear her speak. And I'd also like to mention that when we invited Taiwo to be a speaker, she was like, "Wow, that's amazing because I have watched every single season of The Essentials." And that was just a really cool thing to hear because, it just feels so awesome to just know that this work and the series is out there giving little bits of advice and support to people on their journey as visual storytellers. So that was really cool. So here we are, full circle. Taiwo, please, you can come out on the stage now. Taiwo, don't make us wait. There she is.
Hi,
Yay!
hi.
Awesome. 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 Well, so for
Good
those of you who may
afternoon.
not be familiar with her work, which be surprised. I am going to just tell you who she is, her official bio. She is a Nigerian freelance photojournalist and visual storyteller based in Lagos. She specializes in documenting real life experiences, often highlighting societal issues with focus on women's empowerment, sports, agriculture, climate change, and entrepreneurship. She's collaborated with international media nonprofits, including the New York Times, Le Monde, CNN, UNICEF, Global Witness, Red Cross, Oxfam, The Guardian, The Africa Report, and Reuters. Is there anyone she hasn't worked with? We don't know. In 2022, she had her first solo exhibition documenting female boxers. So cool. In Lagos. And in 2024, received the Women Photograph Grant for her project Game of Confidence. That is a huge grant to receive. Congratulations. Taiwo is a member of Black Women Photographers, the African Photojournalism Database, Diversify Photo, Women Photograph, Indigenous Photograph, and the Authority Collective. Wow. Look at Taiwo. You are incredible. Thank you so much again for joining us today. What a treat. We are so lucky to have you. And with her incredible experience as a guide, today Taiwo is going to let us in on her secrets, right, Taiwo? With how you approach difficult topics with care, as well as how to prepare logistically, emotionally, and ethically before, during, and after an assignment. Whether for personal work or a commission from a client, she's going to take us step by step from start to finish on how to be prepared for approaching tough topics with compassion. So, Taiwo, thank you so much again for being here and telling us
My
all your secrets.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Danielle. Hi, Polly. So good to see you here again today. It's been a long time coming. I think I've been joining since 2 or 3 years ago, and it's great to be teaching today. Shall I just get straight into it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect. Wow. Look at that first photo. Oh my goodness.
So hi there. As Daniel introduced, my name is Taiwo Aina, and I'm a photographer based in Nigeria. I feel like nowadays we have a lot of you can be a lot as a photographer, from a storyteller to a photojournalist to a documentary photographer to a conceptual artist. So I think I just like to call myself a photographer so I can fit in any as long as the project allows. So yeah, my name is Taiwo and I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. Going to be teaching on current news topics through a sensitive and fair lens. So my first photojournalism assignment was with the New York Times in 2021. No, I think it was 2023, yeah. So I was commissioned to document um, a campaign for the final presidential election. So I followed the presidential candidate, Peter Obi, through his campaign, and I documented the campaign. So it was quite interesting. I mean, I had to put in my experience from the workshop I've learned and past personal projects I've done, and I delivered well on the projects. And since then, I've been doing more news stories, reportage. And as a person, I've worked with routers. I did wire for them when I was in Abuja. It was interesting, but it is good to try yourself on wire, slow pace stories, personal projects. So I discovered that as a person, I prefer I prefer slow pace stories. I get to a location, take my time, have conversation, then take photograph of the person I'm trying to tell his or her story. So yeah, I'm going to just go straight into my slide and share some nuggets today. So yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes. Oh,
And now we don't.
Trying to load it again.
Okay.
yeah, perfect. You're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is news and what is news topic? So it is quite different. So a news is information of events, issues that have recently happened, and they are shared to keep people informed. It answers the basic question: what happened, where, when, who was involved, why, and how it happened, if possible. So for example, if there's a report that heavy rainfall caused flooding in Lagos or anywhere around you, that's what you call news. It's about a specific event. But when you talk about news topic, it is the main idea or tip that the story, the news fall under. So it gives direction and helps you understand. It helps the viewer understand what the big gap picture of the story is. So in this case, the topic could be climate change, environmental issue, education, politics. So when you're documenting a story about flooding, you know that it relates to a news topic under climate change. And trying to go to the next slide. Okay. So yeah, is this fine?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. So in photojournalism, the difference really matters. So every story you photograph is connected to a broader topic. So whether it's health, gender, education, or environment. So knowing your topic, it helps you prepare better. It helps you know how to approach people with sensitivity and create the work that not only shows what happened, but also explores why it matters. So yeah, for example, like this boxing project, photographing young girls isn't just about capturing their training. It's about telling the story under the topic of women empowerment or sports or gender. So now it has more context. Yeah. So understanding that helps your image carry more meaning and purpose. So under different news topics, you can have politics and governance, just like this campaign here. It's a campaign. The news is the campaign, but the topic is politics and governance, election. And right here we have the environment. So this is the case of deforestation. It's a, it's a particular site in Cross River where they are cutting down trees to Chinese lodgers. And the news is deforestation, but it falls under the topic environment and climate change. For this, we have the health. So I was documenting polio vaccines here Madukuri, in Madukuri, and it falls under health news topic. And this is education. Yeah, we have economy too. So when you're talking about inflation, you're talking about high prices, food security. Then you have the topic economy. And lastly, we have human interest. This is quite popular. So human interest can fall under any of other news topic. So it tells a story about personal struggles, triumph. Personal stories are quite unique. So yeah, it matters too. So yeah, my photographs, it aims to show the human side of complex topics that are often reduced to headlines or numbers. A single image can connect people to those behind the statistics and make distant issues feel really, really close. So as a photojournalist, as a photographer, my job is to visually document these events, this news, giving the public an honest, personal and emotional perspective of the world. Are you hearing me? Am I still there? I need feedback. Sorry.
Hey, no, you're totally fine, Taiwo. We can hear you. There is a little humming in the background. I don't know if you can
Okay.
fix your audio just a little bit where we can hear you better. But no, we are here. You're doing great. And if you can make your slides full screen, that would be great.
Okay. So is the audio better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Let's go. So preparing for an assignment, preparing for a sensitive assignment. So I've broken down my personal step that I follow when I'm approaching sensitive topic and in general, storytelling, story projects. So the first thing I do is before the field, I trust my instincts. When I get commissioned for an assignment, I have the option to do the project or not. So one of the benefits of being a freelancer is having the freedom to decide whether or not to take an assignment. So this freedom, it really, really allows you to trust your instincts. So that's what I call the God factor. So I'm a Christian too. When choosing stories to work on and how to approach them, so you have the instinct. So when your nudge feeling tells you not to do something, it's better not to go for it. I know that the assignment might be quite interesting for you, but when you don't have the urge to do the story, I mean, you need inspiration when you are doing the story too. So it's better you just, don't do it, especially when it's a sensitive one. Yep. So before accepting any tough assignment or a sensitive one, I ask myself, does it align with my interests and values? Is it the kind of story I would like to tell? The one that would be nice for my portfolio or the one I really want people to know about? So you have to assess what the risks are, what risks are involved in the project. In the field, when you're on the field, what are the possible risks you might be exposed to ethically and afterwards? So personally, there's a saying I go by, no story is worth my life. Like I value my life so much. I mean, I have to be alive to tell the next story. So I avoid life-threatening assignments. So the last question I ask myself is, am I emotionally ready to handle this story? Especially if it's a very, very, very personal and sensitive story. That is a very important one because at the end of the day, you have to be emotionally stable to handle any project. Yeah, because your perspective matter at the end of the day. So once that is done, I know that I'm going to work on a project, I read about the topic, I study the brief, if one is provided. So mostly for reportage, for stories for New York Times and all, the editor just give you a paragraph or, you collaborate, but there's no specific brief on like corporate that you have to go like do what they want, exactly what they want. When you're working with news agency, they give you the creative freedom to express yourself. So when there's no brief, I create my own story guide. I research about the story. I know what story, I have to know what the story about, what's the history about the story, has it happened before? Who has done something like this? How can I tell this better? What is the additional elements I could add in my own? So I start by learning about the background, the context of the topic, the history of the place, the history of the story, the culture of the place, very important. So when you're going to a place, you need to know about the culture and the environment, know how to dress. You can't be going to not a northern place and you are wearing a short trousers. You have to go covered up. So know about the environment, the people involved. So it helps me tell the story in a respectful and accurate way. It helps me to also approach the people respectfully. Yeah, so when I'm working, so generally when you're working on like a gender-based story, say you're working on a story about rape, most editors would like to hire a female to tell the story because it's quite sensitive and when a male photographer goes to tell that kind of story, it's likely that the subject won't open up to the person because it's a gender sensitive story. So that's an example. I've not worked on a rape story before, but I'm just saying that to give a context to how you can respectfully approach people. It's also important to know who you'll be collaborating with. Either know the fixer, know the journalist. So most of the time, I'm either with a fixer or a journalist. So if the journalist is not on ground or the person is reporting virtually, the fixer is always available to take me around, especially if the news is not in Lagos or Abuja. And I need somebody to help me with access. I work closely with the fixer and the journalist to give the best results while keeping accuracy, safety, and respect at the center of the story. So collaboration is very, very important in any kind of story you might want to work on, especially sensitive ones. So when that is checked, I plan for my travel. I check my gear. I do gear check. I make sure my gear is ready for the job. My camera, my lenses, batteries, extra batteries, charger, memory cards, weather protection. So if you are going to a very hot region, you have to go with a lighter kind of outfit. I go with a backup drive. So I use two cameras. This is because it's not because I'm trying to be expensive, it's just to be safe. So imagine going to a region where you don't have access to tech, you don't have access to borrow any other camera, and your camera stops working. I learned that from a friend and colleague, Tom Seta. So he recommended that whenever you are going to a region or a place that you know that if your camera stops working, you are stuck. So it's better you have a backup camera. So I have two camera bodies, and I like shooting prime lenses because it is lighter to carry first. Secondly, it gives me more crisp images. And also it makes me to be more creative. I mean, I'm the one doing the whole zooming. I'm not zooming from a particular position. I'm moving around the subject. So personally, from the start of my career, I've been using prime lenses and I'm enjoying it. I don't know about tomorrow, but I'm using my prime lenses for now. It's quite not easy to be carrying four lenses about. Most people just like sticking to just a lens 24 to 70 and maybe 70 to 200 if you are doing like a full reportage. But for me, for now, I like the prime lenses, and it's also small in the face of the person you're photographing. You won't look so serious. It's just, my camera just appear like a toy. So most people really like Fujifilm because it is so compact and the lenses are small. So of course, I have my microphone in case I'm conducting interview or we need to use the audio for production. I have my drive. I clean my lens every day and in between shoots in case of dust. So I hardly use external lights, only if the story allows that. So I work with reflector to be able to work with the available lights. And sometimes I carry my printer to give back to the person I'm photographing, just so they could have a copy of their photographs. So this is what is in my camera bag. It's quite bumpy. Yeah, my four lenses, two camera. Maybe, yeah, this is what's in my camera bag. Are you with me, Danielle? I just want to confirm if I'm not talking to
Yes,
myself.
you're all good. We see you,
Sure,
we hear you.
great. I know
Okay.
it feels weird talking it like, but we're all here and you have questions coming up from people, so we are fully dialed in listening, enjoying your presentation.
Yeah, let's go. How many more minutes do I have so I could work with time?
God, math. Let's see.
I
You
know, I
have
always like I got a Bachelor of Arts. You have like 10 more minutes.
Yeah,
Fine.
geez, let's run fast. So when I'm on the field, I collaborate with people. So I'm on the field now. I've gotten to the area. I've checked into my hotel and it's the assignment day. So of course I have a fixer or the journalists. So the first thing we do is to just the day one is always very slow. Yeah. So we gain access to location and find the people who want to photograph. So this relationship, it's very, very important. Your fixer is your guy, your journalist is your guy. You guys need to be like friends when you are doing working together. Collaboration is important. So the fixer provides with language interpretation. When there's communication barrier, it lets you know when the environment is hostile and you guys need to go back to the hotel. So when you're working in any hostile environment, there's always a time you need to go out and time you need to come in. So the fixers, they know the environment, they will help you with that. So it makes the entire assignment safer and more efficient. So in risk areas, just like I said, there's always a safety plan. We check in whenever we are going out, and when we are back to the hotel, let we let the team know that we are back into the hotel, and it's always in the daylight. So I prepare myself emotionally for a difficult situation I might witness, but I've rarely come across none, really. Yeah, like I said, I don't take life-threatening assignments. So please plan for your personal safety. Always go light. So yeah, when you get to where you want to photograph, you don't just start shooting, you have to have conversations. Have conversations first. I always emphasize this because what do you want to photograph? You can't just photograph blindly. This person is not your friend. You have to establish some communication. Understand with this person. So pay attention when the interview is going on. Ask questions. Depending on the number of time you have to be very like prompt with that at the same time. So this will help you know the important story elements you need to photograph and how particularly you need to approach story. Of course, you'll have gotten your story guide before getting there, but on the field, things might change and you might need to maybe do more or do less. It determines. So a phone recorder and a jotter is important. So it's important to write down stuff because imagine you're working about 10 people and you need to caption it. It's important you need to write something on your phone or jotter. You might forget it. So before taking or sharing a photo, I will ask the person, I will ask myself, is this image truthful? Does this image respect the privacy of this person? Could this image cause harm or misunderstanding generally? So being ethical means balancing the public's right to know with people's rights to dignity. I always let the person being photographed know that it's okay to say no, or if they want their identity hidden. So this builds more trust when you're photographing, and you might need to get consent form signed when necessary. So personally, I do have consent form when I'm working, just for my own personal use. But when you're working on some projects, you might not need it. It's only NGO that is very, very compulsory to have consent form. So please consider ethical implications. Photograph with respect and dignity. So I always try to show people honestly and with compassion, be in their space, interact with them. So avoid images that are being exploitative. Photograph people the way you would like to see yourself. You understand? So ask for consent when possible. Every minute, like, are you fine? Can I can I touch you? Can I turn you to this side? Please smile. Think about how the images might affect those involved after they are published. Yeah. Aim for impact and not just aesthetics. So whenever you're photographing, of course, you know that portrait, action, close up, environmental shot are important, light is important, but the main goal is to tell a true story and a meaningful story. So I look for moments that show emotion and meaning, not just what look beautiful. Of course, beautiful is a plus when it comes to photography, but the priority is the story, the emotion, and the meaning of the picture. So when you're done with the story, please back up every day. Imagine working on a 2-week project. You can't have all the photos on your camera. It's not safe. What if it gets corrupted when you're shooting? So back up every day into your SSD or your hard drive. Yeah, so after the project is done, I always edit immediately. I don't like piling up work because the next day I might be commissioned by another company. So I edit immediately. I create a catalog. I use Lightroom to edit. So I create a catalog for each project. They have their own folder. And when it comes to editing, I just do color correction. I don't do anything to the faces. I don't overcrop. And when that is done, I write my captions and I file the images properly. And when that is also done, I back up again to have all the, updates saved, like the new edits and the edited version of the images. So when all that is done, I rest and I recharge. Rest is very, very important. Take yourself out, have fun with your family and friends. It's not every time work, 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 because our work is quite it looks easy, but it is mentally like demanding. So the creative work is not easy. So you need to rest, spend time with your family and loved ones, go out, have fun, and repeat with the next assignment, with the next story you want to do. So let me quickly do a story reference with the many time I have. So last last year, was it last year or last 2 years? It's not quite long. So I worked on this story for New York Times. It was a portrait of a formerly abducted Chibok girl. They were kidnapped from their school in 2014. And this girl, she got released not quite long, and I was asked to go get a portrait in Maduguri. So yeah, the editor sends an assignment email. I will confirm my availability. So here's the email. This icons. Sometimes it's always on WhatsApp or Instagram. So social media is quite important. You need to be active if you're a freelancer. So yeah, and always reply fast because the assignment may be time sensitive. So the next thing I do after the assignment is to get in touch with, is either the journalist get in touch with me or I get in touch with the journalist or the fixer. So yeah, the fixer messaged me and we got talking about the story and how I'm going to get to the location. So yeah, when we got there, it was quite hard for the girls to come out. So it was only one person we end up photographing. See, he said he has been working things out with options available. We tried a lot of options, but at the end of the day, we got someone, and it's always good to like collaborate. Don't be like boss. You are literally clueless there. So you need to work with the fixer, give it up, commend the person working with you, and vice versa. It encourages the person you are working with. And yeah, so Aisha showed up. That's not her real name. I'm trying to protect her name here. So she showed up and we had a conversation with her privately and I photographed her. So when the interview was going on, I was noting out the important thing I need to photograph. Of course, the brief was a portrait. I had to get something detailed, maybe a scar, something else, but I prioritized portraits also. So I knew she agreed. She agreed to we showing her face for this story, but like I said, it's okay to say no after. So I got pictures that her face was hidden and the one that we showed her face properly in case she decide not to show her face anymore and we still need to publish the story. So yeah, I asked her if she wanted to be anonymous. She said she was good with being not anonymous. This was a mistake. So I took both versions just in case she was not comfortable anymore with showing her face for the story. So here's some of the outcome. And yeah, any questions, please ask away. And yeah, that's all my slide. I guess I'm on time.
Yes. Thank you so much, Taiwo, for that great presentation. Lots of love and great questions coming in. And actually, I'll just take it to the very beginning. Let's rewind it for a second, for a few folks can, because there's a lot of similar questions here. But let's go back to your first assignment. You mentioned, like when you first started with the New York Times, and I absolutely love this. Like Danielle said, this is also a full circle moment because, so with Black women photographers, we do a lot of free portfolio reviews. With
Yeah.
all the news desk, we do portfolio reviews with Reuters, AP, Getty Images, NPR,
Story we
Post.
came from Black women photography, and the
Sorry,
assignments,
what was
editor was the one that commissioned me. So yeah.
Yes. So yes, yeah. So Taiwo participated in our free portfolio reviews with the New York Times. We've done it like for the last 2, 3, 4 years now. And her editor, the one who reviewed her portfolio with us, a year later reached out to Taiwo for an assignment, and that assignment just happened to be this front page story that Taiwo just walked you through. So it's just so incredible how things like that can work and why participating in portfolio reviews, whether you can hopefully find them for free, like we make ours available for free to people. Other organizations may charge a fee. It can vary all across the spaces, but portfolio reviews are a great way to get your work seen by these editors, because what happens is photo editors in this sense in the newsrooms are the ones who hire and assign photographers to stories. And so if you aren't able to participate in a portfolio review, what you can do is just search for photo editors, maybe go on LinkedIn and type in the New York Times, type in the company, the New York Times, and then go to people. And then on that, whoever has a LinkedIn or New York Times, their names will start lining up and you'll see their names like, okay, this person, Tanner Curtis, he's one of the photo editors at the New York Times. And then you can send him a message on LinkedIn requesting, for him to look at your work or maybe just pitch yourself. That is a great way to get your work seen by editors who are in a position to hire. And so I'm just sharing that because I want to make sure we get to all the great questions. Yes, and Twitter is very helpful as well. Actually, on Black Women Photographers, we have a Twitter list called Photo Editors, and you'll see over 100 photo editors listed by the Twitters that we could find, those who are on Twitter. So you can search that on our Twitter as well. And really just put yourself out there, get your work in front of these editors because there are so many great stories to be told in your local communities. And I'm so glad that worked well for Taiwo, because since then it's like a ripple effect, right? Now there's been numerous assignments with the New York Times, and then from there it's a leaping pad to other publications, other NGOs, other whatever it may be. But let's really dive into these questions. I know I'm talking fast because I just want to make sure we get to all the good ones. So that was one of the questions there, how you landed that assignment at the New York Times. Do you have any other advice for those who want to land their first assignment, Taiwo? Any advice you could share?
Okay. So yes, one of the biggest advice I've gotten from mentors, colleagues is to work on personal projects. Personal projects are very, very important. Even for the portfolio review I did with Black women photographers and the New York Times, it was my personal project that was reviewed. So if I did not have my personal projects, I wouldn't have been in the in that class, in the review, yeah. So I have personal projects, and one thing I would say is to network like crazy. Well, I got to know about Black women photographers on Instagram. I used Instagram a lot, so I joined communities from APJD to I tried women photo like 3 times before I got the grants. I joined Diversify Photo. So these communities, it's like a closer circle of editors and photographers. So when an editor is looking for a photographer, they won't go to Google first. They'll go to platforms like Diversify Photo, Women Photograph. They'll look at database to hire because these are trusted photographers there than Google. They are already vetted in the database. So try and join databases, have a portfolio, have a website. It's good to have Instagram, but a website, it sets you apart from the rest. If I'm an editor now, in the next 1 year, I'm trying to hire a photographer. I'll prioritize someone that has a website and maybe selected projects on their website over someone that just have an Instagram. If they have the same work, so if the work quality it's the same thing, like it's both great, I'm trying to select the best person. I'm going to go for somebody with a website. So website is very, very important as a professional. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Absolutely. And those who want more on the websites and the pitching, don't worry, y'all. We have more classes that will do a deep dive on those topics. On the same sense, Taiwan, on that note, we all know that every month or every season may not be fast seasons, right? You may not get a lot of work. So in that sense, how have you remained resilient when you are building up to these type of clients and when the work is slow?
So personally, throughout the year, I mean, there are some months that I don't photograph. So the beauty of being a freelancer is that we get to earn more. There are times that you earn a lot in a month. There are times that you don't earn at all. So you need to you need to learn money management. You need to save, you know, have, so there are times that assignment won't come and even personally I get down. But the fact that I have savings, I still have money to spend keeps me going. Maybe that those time I try to like apply for grants, last 2 years I applied for grants and luckily I got it. So I'm always applying for workshops. When the work is not coming, what are you doing? You're supposed to be like developing yourself in other aspects. So if you get assignments all the time and you're not developing yourself, it's equally not good. You get worn out. So time you're not shooting, rest, develop yourself. Apply, you can apply to be a teacher somewhere. You could even have another job you are doing as a freelancer. So have multiple ships of income. You can sell prints. There's a lot you can do. Do personal projects. Personal projects is always a good investment to make. The stories you work on for clients, they are not fully yours. Of course, you own the copyright, but there's a way you can work with your own personal project and you can exhibit it anywhere. You can sell books. So prioritize personal projects when you're not working. Please learn how to manage your money well. A lot of creatives fall into this bit, they don't know how to manage their money well. It's not every time you get assignments. Most time I shoot maybe once in a month, once in 2 months, and I'm good because I have learned how to manage my money. I don't spend like a freelancer, I spend like a salary earner, you know. So yeah, that's it for
And
me.
I really love that you're actually, it's so great because we obviously we don't tell speakers, to talk about our next classes or whatever. We don't tell them to advertise for our next classes, but the things you just touched on, it's so great because it's going to be the perfect transition to the rest of the day because you're talking about pitching, you're talking about portfolio, you're talking about money management. And guess what, y'all? We have a class for each one coming up this whole weekend. We literally have a
Yeah, be
speaker
there.
talking about every single thing that you're just referencing here. So we won't deep dive about those threads because we want our next speakers to really touch on that. But I love that you're bringing these things up because we will be speaking on that later throughout this day and also this whole weekend. Speaking of personal projects, I love that project that you did that you got the grant for Women Photograph. We have a question here. This person asks, I've started a project on homelessness and the effect of temporary accommodation on children. I've started using my family as we are currently in this situation. Do you have advice for taking on this kind of project?
Can you ask the question again, please?
Yes. This person here asks, sorry, just move the question. I started a project on homelessness and the effect of temporary accommodation on children. I started using my family as we are currently in this situation. Do you have advice for taking on this kind of project?
Hmm. Okay. So this kind of projects are the ones that win award. Let me tell you first. So it's very personal. It's very from you going to somebody's community to tell a story. It's always good to turn the lens on yourself. Have a small camera, document every moment, morning, afternoon, night. If you don't have a mentor, try to get one. It's always good to have a mentor guidance. So shoot it personally, shoot black and white, colored, shoot everything. And the more kind of pictures you have, the better. Um, I don't know why you are moving. I don't know if it's because of migration. So you might want to connect it to a news topic. If it's migration, connect it to migration. If it's about family, home, connect it to something. So it will be globally relevant, you know. Yeah, and please get a mentor to properly guide you on the project. It's a really, really solid project, and I'm rooting for you. Yeah.
Thank you. And again, we'll have more, on that, to how to, do personal work in future classes. And also we've covered that in past classes as well. But you mentioned a mentor, and we have a question here about how do you even find a mentor? How do you go about that? Tell us how you approach that in.
Okay. So approaching a mentor might be tricky because everybody's actually busy with their life. Everybody's busy. So you might not have a specific mentor, but you might have somebody or maybe two or three people that you respect their work, that you can ask questions once in a while. You understand? So if you are living in a community like Lagos now, you have access to a lot of photographers. Message them. Don't say, please come and be my mentor. Please don't do that. It freaks people out. just ask, oh, please, when next you are shooting, do you have anything I can help with? So always propose a value or just meet up with this person, show them what you are currently working on, and the person will give you one or two advice. So in 2020, during lockdown, when I was trying to know more about documentary photography, I I explored personal projects. I was clueless. I was just doing it because I couldn't be at home and do nothing. I had the camera. So I turned the camera on my community, my family, and I messaged people like Andrew Sebo, Tom Sater. I messaged colleagues around me, and that was the moment where a lot of people embraced online kind of learning. So out of all people I messaged, maybe like two or three people replied, and we did a Zoom meeting like this. I showed my pictures, and they gave me they gave me advice. So I was specific about what I wanted from them. It's not really a mentorship from the meeting. So it might not be a mentorship per se, but when you have someone that constantly guide you once in a while, range of people that you can ask about editing, about access, just have a group of community you could reach out to. So mentorship might be such a huge task, but be curious, ask questions, ask it with people are always willing to answer questions. But when you are clueless about what you want, you just want mentorship. There's a lot that entails with mentorship. So leverage on social media, attend events that you meet this person that you want to get the person's attention. Yeah, and you'll be good. But don't just message people to ask for mentorship. It's quite tasky. Yeah, I tend to run away from that myself.
Um, yeah, I love everything that you've said about community and building community and how important that is and how to, not be afraid to ask questions. Like even when working with an editor, maybe for the first time, sometimes we worry like, oh, if I ask questions, I'm going to seem unprofessional or it's going to look like I don't know what I'm doing. But actually, the more questions you ask, the better off you'll be, the more prepared you'll be. And in fact, sometimes asking questions can appear more professional, right? Um, so don't ever be afraid to ask. Better to ask than to not. And again, creating those safe spaces like Taiwo mentioned, where you can build community and support one another. So on the topic of kind of maybe hand in hand with community. Some folks are asking about, the emotional aspect of the work that we do. You've talked about some really intense subjects that you have photographed subjects as in topics, not people, just for the record. I imagine, so someone asked, I imagine that documenting emotional or difficult topics would require you to also make the person comfortable. How have you handled this in the past to honor the person and tell their story? And then on the flip side, how do you, Taiwo, as yourself as a person, manage stress and your mental health for assignments that take a toll on your emotions? So, how do you make people comfortable that you're photographing? And then how do you deal with that stress and, you know, anxiety or whatever that you might experience after the assignment? So, two-sided question there.
Okay, so I will go with the first question that says, how do I make the person comfortable? It comes with skill. Making somebody comfortable. Whether your story is sensitive or not, you have to make, recently I photographed Bill Gates and I had to make him comfortable in front of me. And I think the first thing you need to do is, compliment the person, have a conversation. Don't talk about the emotional part here. Just try to talk. Try to make jokes, talk, interact, talk about your own to self, what you can share. Make it conversational. Don't make it be a one-sided kind of interaction. Then the person will see that you are human. And it's also more tricky if there's a language barrier. I guess you just need to smile, be relaxed, interact and let this person see you as somebody they can interact to, is either by gesture or by smiling. So please be calm, interact. If you don't know their language, know the basic greeting. Am I muted? Okay. Know the basic kind of greeting. They will understand that you don't even know their language and they will just smile to it. So once they are okay, you are going to know. And once you see that there's any form of uneasiness, you might want to pause photographing and converse, maybe pause a while and let the person do some things and resume again. You don't need to do everything at the exact go. Photograph few minutes, pause, talk, don't let it be like a marathon. Do it gradually. There's some story you don't finish in a day, some story you finish in a week, some 2 weeks, some months. But I've not done any story like that because it's always like on the go whenever it comes to assignment. So make the person comfortable, smile a lot, and make the person see that you see them, just be calm and yeah. So how I deal with the emotional story, especially this particular story where they were kidnapped from school, it could have been anyone. Um, I just know that it is well. Firstly, whenever I'm done with the assignment, when I'm captioning, when I'm done, when I deliver the photos, I just go home. I spend time with my loved ones. I get so much what's the word? I love being at home. It helps me. Like whenever I smile at my family, like when I'm at home, it makes me just forget everything and know that it is family that truly, truly, truly matters. So family is my own cheat code. And once I'm done with the project, that is the end of it. I just leave it somewhere and maybe when I'm revisiting it for a presentation like this, then I look at the photos again. So that's how I do it. So family, I prioritize my family after work and just spend time with them. So it is hard when you are going from one sensitive story to another to another. That kind of situation, you might want to see a therapist, or if your work provides that, you could tell the editor that this particular story, you might need to see a therapist, and that will be covered also. It's just a conversation and open up about it, talk to someone, talk to a colleague, talk to a friend, talk to your family, and that's a step to getting better. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so important to surround yourself again with family, community, and just to again on that same notion of don't be afraid to ask, don't be afraid to talk to people. I mean, certainly like especially colleagues, probably have gone through similar experiences, especially if it's, a news event that, several people are photographing. And even if it's not something that a lot of people are photographing, surely others have, gone through something similar. So don't be afraid to kind of create those bonds and connections. So I'm really glad that you are, talking a lot about that, Taiwo, about like, don't be afraid to be open. Don't be afraid to like accept openness and return it too. It's really, really important, I think, in this industry, and not something that, in the past, I think there was more of this model of like doing everything on your own and being a lone wolf. And, if you speak about these difficulties, you're going to be perceived as like weak and not able to do the job. And thankfully that narrative is shifting, but it takes people like you, Taiwo, and others to say like, hey, it's okay. And let's like, work on this together. So thank you again for mentioning that about community.
Also
Um,
want to say that, sorry to cut
yeah,
you,
no,
that
please.
our assignments, the way our work is structured, especially for freelancers, it could be very, very lonely. You don't have like a workspace you go to. You are going from an assignment to your house to another assignment. If you are lucky, you are a believer, you go to a church or a mosque, you have some community, but it's structured that you go from assignment to another assignment to your house. It's a lonely world. So please, even if you don't photograph sensitive story, you need to still surround yourself with people, please. Have friends, invest in relationship, community. Yeah. So yeah, I just thought to chip that in.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And, it just reminds me of like, um, if you don't see it in your community, make it, like Black women photographers, the everyday projects, women photograph, all of these like organizations that seem so big and they're doing so many incredible things. It started from an idea. It started from someone, and Polly, obviously, you could speak better to that as the founder of Black women photographers, but it's like you see an issue or you see something lacking and you say, you know what? I'm going to do something about it, so don't be afraid to reach out to photographers in your town or city if and get together, make it happen. So, kind of going to totally shift gears a little bit here because we had like at least a few questions on the same topic about fixers. So, people are saying this is a long question, but basically just about fixers. So, what is a fixer? How do you know that person is going to be sensitive to the subject? Is there like a vetting process? Explain a little bit more about what you mean by this form of collaboration. And then on the topic of fixers, what is your process of finding a fixer in the area you're visiting for the first time? Do you research that before the assignment, or are they recommended to you by whoever is commissioning the story? So a lot of questions about fixers.
So mostly so a fixer is somebody that fixes you. I don't know if that makes sense. So whatever you need as regards the assignments, from location to hotel to flights, sometimes to who to photograph, where to go to, anything you need as regards to story, the person fixes you up with it. The person helps you. So some fixers can be journalists, some could be photographers, some could be someone that is really good with the community and language. So yeah, mostly they are journalists and photographers that they are currently not taking assignment, and they just do that as like a side hustle. So it's also like a side hustle for you. If you're a photographer, you don't know about your community, where you can also look into fixing. So the second question is, how do I know a good fixer? For most of the times, the way I'm being commissioned as a photographer, the fixer too is commissioned on their own. So I don't really go through the process of commissioning a fixer. So, but there are a few times I get to. So, whenever I'm working in Lagos, in my own city, I know the people I need to work with. So, I have friends that are photographers that also work as fixers that I can reach out to help me on this project. Let's go together. So, whenever I'm working in Lagos, last 2 years, I work on a story on Lagos urbanization that I had to photograph in Lagos for like a week or two. I couldn't do that alone. So I had to call my friend Dami to help me around. He's good with Lagos. So he's not officially a fixer, but he helped me fix on that project. So relationships again. And let's say you're going to a place that, okay, the journalist didn't link you up with any fixer. You need to figure out everything on your own. So you need to leverage on your community, somebody that's been there before, someone that's done a project there. Ask for the person that helped them, look for photographers there and ask if they know anybody good with fixing that could help you to get this access, to get this, because really a fixer makes your life easy. You're already worrying about the creative process and all. You don't need to worry about where will I see somebody to photograph, where will I go to. That's already a lot. It could affect your creative process. So they are not always expensive. It always was like, just have a fixer to help you whenever you are clueless about what you want to do. And you can talk about that to the editor if there's no fixer, and they'll be ready to help you with that. So yeah, I've not worked with any bad fixer really. Because at the end of the day, you're still the one coordinating the whole creative process. It could be frustrating when you probably don't understand the language and the professor is just telling you what he wants to tell you. Then, well, I've not experienced that before, but all the fixers I work with, they are amazing. And if you notice that the first day you work with a fixer, the person you didn't like the whole approach and it's affecting your own creative process, you might want to like get another person. It might be hard when you've already started the project, but what's giving it a try? Maybe the driver also can speak English. Just work with the driver too with the fixer. So it will be looking very awkward. You just need to get your work done at the end of the day. So yeah, that's it. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, you're just like,
No, thank you.
boom.
Mhm.
Polly, do you think we have time
Yeah,
for one more?
yes,
And
let's
then
do one more question. Mhm. Because one thing I love about your work is the way you approach lighting, even when it's like difficult situations. When I don't know if you're able to show back the screen of the project of you did of the young woman, and how you took two different portraits, one to like prepare if she decided to be anonymous, and one that showed her face, if she was okay with that. And we have a few questions here, and I'm just going to simplify into like one big question for we can try and answer all the technical questions that people have for you. But during your presentation, you shared your kit. Yes, that one. It's just beautiful. During your presentation, you shared it with us, your gear kit, and you mentioned that you use Fujifilm. Someone asked, why you chose Fujifilm versus the other camera brands. And when you're in the field, how do you, decide, okay, one lens, two lenses, like one focal point? Like, what is your approach to the technical side and even your approach to lighting, as someone else asked as well, um, for these like beautiful, well lit photos?
So why Fujifilm? Which one should I start with? Why Fujifilm? So I'm not specifically, I could shoot Canon, I could shoot Nikon. There was a day I had access to use a Nikon and I used Nikon at Fujifilm. But I really love Fujifilm because it's not a promotion, by the way. It's compact. It's very, very small. It doesn't get into your creative process. And how do I know the lens to use per project? So I used to camera body, right? One is always on my neck, one is strapped to my hand. The one that is on my neck is either 50 mm or it's tricky when talking about Fuji lenses because Fujifilm is a crop sensor. So when I say 23 mm, 23 mm is 35 mm. Yeah, and 35 mm is 50 mm. So my go-to lens is the 23 mm, which is 35 mm. I'm always a 23 mm is always on one of the camera. So the second one, so if I'm doing portraits at that time, I use 50. The 50 is on the other, the 35 mm, which is the 50 lens, is always on the second camera. So my go-to lens is always the 35, the 23 mm and the 35 mm. So when I'm shooting a tight space, then the 35 mm changes to 16 mm. So I switch to the 16 mm, which is a 24 mm. I hope I'm not confusing. Let me just stick to normal range. So I'm always shooting 35 and 50. So when I'm shooting a tight space, I switch the 50 mm to the 24 mm. So that I don't shoot reportage often, so I can always control when to change my lens and also that's it. Then my camera bag is on my back or in the car or strapped, or the extra lens is strapped to my side, so I don't need to be going up and down. Yeah, that's what I do. So what's the other question, please?
No, and then on a similar note, then how do you approach lighting? Like you see, there's two different approaches with your lighting here, and even how did you approach um, directing her for this story?
So whenever I see a space for this particular lady, we couldn't photograph her at her home or somewhere that we could choose. We just had to look for somewhere to photograph her quickly. And that was quite limiting because if it was at home, we could incorporate some personal elements. It's more interesting to work with. But this was just a space with trees and it was like in the midday. So whenever I'm working, I look for backgrounds first. I check the lights in the area. Where can I get an amazing light to put my subjects? And after that, I look at the background. I look at colors around. So these three things guide me on where and how to photograph. Yes, so that's it. And from the beginning of my career, I'm always attracted to light. So I heard that light is very important in photography, and I prioritize that when it comes to storytelling. So there's no project of mine that you won't see light play in it. So yeah, and light is very powerful. I used light to hide the identity here without even using anything to cover her face, just in this space, this small space here. So how did I pose? There was language barrier, of course. She was speaking Hausa. I speak English. But the biggest language you can miss is your smile and gesture. So yeah, it's a sensitive story, but I had to just interact with her. Hello, how are you? Murmushi in Hausa means smile. But I can't really tell her to smile because it's not a kind of story you tell somebody to smile. It's a portrait. So in journalism, we can direct portraits and I could direct everything in this shoot. So like I said, I was calm. I did my thing. I looked for the background. I took her to the background. I just allowed her to stay while she do her thing while I took the portraits. And there are times that she looked at the lens, which was quite powerful. But Yeah, it's just you being present and taking your time at the end of the day. Yeah. And she was
So,
very, very easy. Like she wasn't difficult to photograph, like,
mhm.
but the story was difficult.
No, definitely. Man, Taiwo, so beautifully well said. Such an incredible presentation. It's always so tough to like cut people off and wrap things up because I know like Danielle and I say this every year. Like we can sit with you and talk with you for hours. And these classes always go by so quickly. But thank you so much, Taiwo. Anything you want to share with everyone before you go?
So I would say don't give up, keep shooting, keep pushing your work. Even today, I didn't plan on making a video. I was like, let me just do this video so a lot of people see this class. So use any opportunity to push your work out there. Keep working, don't give up. It's okay to take breaks. Don't be hard on yourself. Yeah. Thank you. And
Well
your story is my
said. Thank you for
inspiration.
this reminder. What's that? Sorry. What'd you say?
I said your story is my inspiration. Did you get that?
That is so thank you so much, Taiwo, and thank you everyone for your incredible questions. We tried to get to everybody, but for those questions that we did not get to, please connect with Taiwo offline. Connect with her. We dropped her information in the chat. Send her a DM. Ask her your questions. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them. Thank you so much again, Taiwo. I'm just so proud of you and your journey and seeing how far you've come. And I know you'll have so much more to go as well, and the powerful stories you're telling in your communities and abroad. So thank you so much, Taiwo.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Taiwo.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We will be starting our next class with Nicole Tung in just a moment. We'll be talking about how to pitch. So, for those who had those questions about pitching and we didn't answer them, this is why. Because Nicole will break it down how you can break through the noise and how to just make it seem not all around scary and daunting. Because I promise you, it's not. It's not. She will simplify and break it down for you. Thank our partner Photo Wings again, helping make the essentials happen and making it free and accessible to all of you and anyone who wants to learn. There, it's free because of our partnership with Photo Wings, and Photo Wings' mission is to highlight and help facilitate the power of photography to influence the world. As a nonprofit, they help photography to be better understood, created, utilized, seen, and saved. And that is exactly what we're doing here today. So if you tuned in late for any part of our presentation with Taiwo or any other speakers you can't make it to, don't worry. All the classes are being recorded and will be available for free replay afterwards. Again, thanks to our partnership with Photo Wings.